Hello out there and good morning, traders. It is January 4th, 2024, and welcome to the Apteros DMI for today. So let's dive into our recap and then we'll update our levels and plan for the session. So taking a look at what was going on yesterday, it was pretty easy and straightforward for us. We had a bearish idea overall in this market, and we are monitoring scenario one, which was holding below these lines in the sand areas. Now, the caveat to yesterday's DMI was around this neutral level. We were saying early in the session, if we held below this particular reference, we were looking for a continuation to the downside into that lower destination target type of area down there. If we didn't hold below that neutral level, we were looking for that pullback heading back into our line in the sand zone. So the neutral level was kind of a, like a hinge for the early morning session where if we went one way, we were looking for more. If we went the other way, we were holding for the pullback, but staying in line with our overall bias from our line in the sand. So we ended up seeing a pretty straightforward session for us. We essentially opened up, started to push down below, got the beginnings of some semblance of acceptance below our level here on the intraday perspective. This is not necessarily a place where, you could have said, oh, well, this is very clear. We're holding below that level. This is an aggressive short type of entry, but it ends up working out and continuing to the downside here. But once you got into this area here, it was definitely fully accepted, and we were looking at that early scenario of holding below that neutral zone. We got the pullback, and then, of course, it was just about maintaining that short bias underneath this neutral level here. It never really quite got to our main target, so that's just the way it goes sometimes, but we ended up seeing a really nice move out of it, pretty much dictating the high and low of the day. So that's a pretty decent read on what was going on contextually yesterday with the ES. Let's dive into today's updated levels. Okay, so taking a look at what's going on here currently in the ES, this is our line in the sand. It's a pretty straightforward plan for us today. We have a 47.55 to 47.50 line in the sand type of area, and we're looking for that to hold. Essentially, we're looking for this bearish area to go to the downside and head into our lower neutral target here. That would be scenario one. So we're kind of looking for that and monitoring the continuation of that as we, approach these lows here. If we get down below that area, possible continuation into this lower neutral zone. If it doesn't hold, that would be scenario two. So we'd be looking back up above this area and looking for the overall whole idea of scenario two would be that it, reverts all the way back up into this 47.90, 47.87 type of area up there. And obviously with that one, there is some stuff, just kind of hanging out here in terms of the price action in the way, right? So we want to see that kind of go up through there, clear out those highs, and then possible continuation into the upside there. That's just for overall monitoring what's going on with scenario two. But this is essentially the layout of what we have for today's session. It's a very straightforward session, one line in the sand. I can give you a little bit more of a zoomed out picture of what's happening here. Let me do that so we can see what's happening depending on how crazy this session gets. We still are bearish in nature, even if we get up above this line in the sand area. But for our current session, this line in the sand is really important for us in terms of maintaining that below to continue on with the bears without any type of dissonance. If we get back up above this line in the sand, it'll be kind of a condition shift for us on one of our lower time frames, and that'll cause some dissonance in the overall bearish picture. But this is really the upper zone of where we started to see the bearishness occur from on one of our higher time frames. So that's kind of what we're monitoring with that upper area there. But like I said, our main plan today is just following scenarios 1 and 2 and looking for overall destinations here. If we do see scenario 1 really push and continue to the downside, it's a lot of open space. So we'd have to get below this zone here, and then we kind of would be trend following, heading all the way down to the 46.31 zone. So that's just what we're monitoring from the bigger, broader perspective of everything. If we do hit this target and start ending up trending below it, that would be something to monitor with some intraday tools or something like that. But it's definitely, the overall picture of what we're trying to get at with the downside is at least getting to this zone here and then seeing if we can hold below it. All right, so remember, your process is the thing that you can control today. So make sure that you follow that process, manage your risk, and execute the best you can. So have a great trading day.